How is everyone doing today? And in this video, we are going to be talking about every possible thing that Zhu Yuan needs when it comes to building out her best teammates, building out her debut engines, and also looking at the disk drives you probably might want to grind when it comes to getting ready for Zhu Yuan, because you don't want it to be day one while Zhu Yuan is out. Other people are having fun with her while you're still trying to grind and get her up to where you're at in terms of your internet level. So today we're going to be talking about everything that you can pre-grind for now, so that you're ready later. Before we get into all that, make sure you leave a like, comment, sub, all that different type of stuff, and let me know how excited you are for Zhu Yuan, and also what do you have already pre-grinded for her. Now, of course, we're going to talk about some of the basics that we're going to be looking out for when it comes to pre-grinding. Of course, the Ascension material that you're going to need, which is the attack emblems. Same thing when it comes to her skills as well. You're going to be wanting to grind those ether chips, which these are very, very understandable, very common sense things to go and grind out. Of course, the main things we want to talk about are the teams, the W engines, and also the main stats and subsets you want to get for some of the disk drives. Talking about one of the most important things that a lot of people should probably prioritize over is her best teammates. And right now in the game, there is a select few that are some of the best characters for Zhu Yuan at the moment. And I did showcase them off in another video, so if you haven't already, go ahead and watch after this video. But let's go ahead and start talking about the characters that are some of the best characters in for Zhu Yuan. One of them is definitely going to be Nicole. Nicole is by far best in slot and will be best in slot for a very long time, and almost a really good universal support in the game, not only because she has the ability to group up, but she has so much to her kit that's going to help not only Zhu Yuan, but also other DPSs down the line. She has the ability to reduce defense by 40%, which is massive just by doing anything in regards to her ether field. Not only that, her signature itself gives a full-on damage buff that's across the board, doesn't have to be a certain type of damage, which is absolutely insane. Not only that, in her team passive, when you have someone that's the same element or the same faction, which Zhu Yuan and also Nicole share the same element, she gets a 25% ether damage bonus to those who do ether damage, which is overall stacked on top of stack on top of stack of how much extra damage you are doing simply from using Nicole on Zhu Yuan's team. So you definitely want to go ahead and start working on Nicole, start leveling her up. She's going to be a really great support not only for Zhu Yuan, but also for other characters later down the line with how much she has and how many universal buffs she has to her kit. The next character is going to, of course, be Anby, because right now Anby is going to be the stand-in for what I'm assuming Qingyi to be in version 1.1. She's going to be able to synergize with Nicole with having her own passive dealt, which is going to help out with her energy. And not only that, Anby is just an overall really great stunner, and you get both of these characters for free at the start of the game. So these are going to be some very accessible characters for everyone and will be by far some of Zhu Yuan's best teammates. So you definitely want to start looking into building Anby, start looking into building Nicole, because these are going to be some really great characters for Zhu Yuan. Of course, Anby can be put on hold if you want to wait and are looking to summon for Qingyi, because I'm pretty sure these two are probably going to get replaced in regards to working with Anby instead of Qingyi, because it looks like with lightning, which is what she uses in the story, and also how she looks, Qingyi is probably going to be a stunner and replace Anby to help Zhu Yuan get a more premium team. So if you're excited for Qingyi, you probably could put a hold on Anby and just use another character for now. If you want to use Anby, she's free. She's a really great character. Go ahead and use her. You can use other support characters with Zhu Yuan because of her core passive. She doesn't have it to where it's element or faction based. It's faction or support based. So that means if you want to use someone like Rina, go ahead. But I do think Nicole is still way better due to the amount of buffs you get with Nicole specifically. But you can use someone like Rina. You can use someone like Sokaku and even someone like Lucy. I still steadily and very heavily emphasize that Nicole is just going to be so much better with all the different things that she's able to do and the ease of access to a lot of portions of her kit that Zhu Yuan is going to absolutely love, such as the quick assist that Nicole's able to proc very easily, which gives Zhu Yuan the bullets that she needs to do a lot of damage. So you definitely want to start leveling up Anby and Nicole, and if you want any other support character that's going to fit the team. The next thing, besides of course the basics, which are the teams and also the talents itself, the core passives, which you can see the materials right here that you're going to need. It's going to be the robot arm and whatever the heck that purple one is. Those are the materials that you're going to have to use to level those core passives up. And then also, of course, getting the levels up for the Zhu Yuan herself. But going into the main thing, which is her W engines and also the disk drives as well. Her W engines are going to be very select few. Right now, we're only looking at 3 possible engines that you can use that will play into her kit the most. One of them being, of course, her signature weapon, which, of course, why wouldn't this be her best option? This is going to be the weapon dedicated to her in her W engine banner. The next one is most likely going to be the Brimstone, only because this is the only other engine at the current moment that's able to work universally on any DPS, because this just gives you straight up attack by doing some of the most basic things. When it comes to doing basic attacks, dash attacks, or dodge counters, you get attack bonus and it stacks up 8 times. This is the only thing that really works on every character. So besides the signature weapon, the Brimstone is probably going to be under there. And if you don't have the Brimstone either, which is Soldier's weapon, then you're probably going to be looking at the Starlight engine, because everything else at the current moment has a certain damage type affiliated with it, with the Street Superstar being full on chain attack to ultimate damage and going into skill damage. It's a little bit weird to be able to proc all these conditions of doing multiple charge attacks or chain attacks, then going into your ultimate and then getting a skill boost. A little bit too much in my honest opinion. Same thing with the Housekeeper, is going to help with physical damage, and then looking at the Drill Rig, it only does electric damage as well. So right now it only seems that we're going to be looking at the signature weapon, the Brimstone, and then the Starlight engine. If you don't have the Brimstone and you don't want to get the signature W engine, then the Starlight engine seems like it's going to be the best possible W engine to use for quite a bit of time, until they bring out some more W engines that are accessible that are 4 stars. Going into the main thing, which is going to be very important to look at, is going to be her relics or her disc drives. Now, of course, we can assume the Ether set is definitely by far going to be one of the better sets for Zhu Yuan, and you're going to look at most of it to be a DPS substat type of roles that you're going to be throwing into these disc drives. Looking at crit rate, crit damage, penetration, and anomaly buildup or anomaly proficiency, my bad. This is going to help you the most and get the most amount of damage from Zhu Yuan herself. Of course, the 4-piece ether damage set, which is chaotic metal, this is going to be the set that you want, that are 4 pieces, which is going to give you increased ether damage and also increased crit damage, with when you proc corruption is going to give you an additional damage buff as well, which you will be procking quite a bit, because you will be having Nicole and Zhu Yuan on the same team. You're going to be looking for crit rate and crit damage and penetration when it comes to all the substats for your 1, 2, and 3 slots. And these are all static main stats, so you don't have to worry about what main stats to look for. The reason why crit rate, crit damage, of course, is the more important is because that's going to be directly tied to your damage. Penetration is going to help you ignore some of the defense. And then anomaly proficiency is also a pretty good stat to have on your substats, because it will allow you to be able to abuse the corruption dot as much as possible when you're using Zhu Yuan and Nicole. So it honestly isn't a bad substat to roll into if you so happen to get a couple of them inside your substats. When looking into the main stats for the 4, 5, and 6, and also the 2-piece set, you can go a couple of different 2-piece sets. Either you can go Woodpecker Electro for the increased crit rate to help you out with your ratios, or you can go for the pen ratio set, which will help you get a little bit more pen ratio and allow you to ignore a little bit of defense from the enemies, which is pretty strong. Going into some of the main stats you're probably going to be looking out for, of course, for the 4th slot, you're going to want crit rate or crit damage, depending on which one you roll more into. If you see you have a little bit more crit damage than the crit rate, then you go for crit rate, of course. If you're having a little bit more crit rate instead of crit damage, go into the crit damage 4 slot. Now, this is to keep in mind that when looking at Zhu Yuan's core passive, she does get a full 30% crit rate on top of whatever you have at the moment when she does her EX special attack, chain attack, or ultimate. So this is something you definitely should consider while building her. Looking at how much crit rate you have right now, add 30% onto it, because this is what you will be proccing when you use your skill or anything else in Zhu Yuan's kit, which will give you a massive crit rate bonus. So having that on top of a crit rate disc set might be a little overboard, but just look at your ratios and see what is going to work for you when it comes to looking at your 4th slot, depending on how much crit rate or crit damage that you have. Now going into the next slot, which is the 5th slot, you of course are going to want ether damage, because this is of course Zhu Yuan's element herself. So this is pretty self-explanatory. And the same thing for the 6th slot, you're going to want attack percentage for Zhu Yuan, because it's what she scales off of as well. So you're going to want, of course, crit rate, crit damage, penetration, or anomaly proficiency inside your pieces. Majority of the time, you want to go full crit rate, crit damage if possible. But if you end up getting some rolls into penetration or anomaly proficiency, something like how you see right here for my Zhu Yuan's relics at the moment, this is 100% fine, because all of these stats can play into Zhu Yuan with having more damage from the crit rate, crit damage, from being able to ignore some of the defense with penetration, and also to be able to abuse that disorder and corruption that you're going to be proccing non-stop with Nicole and Zhu Yuan with the anomaly proficiency. There's quite a bit of subsets that you can roll into that'll actually make it so much better to play Zhu Yuan and put out so much more damage. So that's pretty much it when it comes to all the things considered for Zhu Yuan when grinding her. Of course, like I said before, grind her normal XP that you need to get when it comes to Ascension material, XP material. Same thing goes for the core skill Ascension materials that you need as well, which you can see right here are the ones you're probably gonna have to grind for. So go ahead and look at this and see which ones you need. This is the amount of materials you need for each one. Go ahead and pause if you need to do so. And then of course leveling up the passives themselves or the talents themselves, and then going into the disk drives and the W engine that I mentioned before. So that's pretty much it when it comes to all the things that you need to grind in regards to Zhu Yuan's set. I do want to give one cool tip as well, is that when you're grinding the ether damage set, you also are going to be grinding the energy regen set alongside with it. So this is actually going to help you grind or help you out when gearing out someone like Anby and also Nicole. So this is honestly a win-win situation, no matter how you see it when it comes to Zhu Yuan. But other than that, that's pretty much it when it comes to this video. I cannot wait for Zhu Yuan to come out, and it's going to be super exciting to see when she does come out and how strong she's going to be with all the things that we've been grinding for. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the video. See y'all guys in the next one. Boo.